It has been a lot of fun really since around, September of last year. We always knew what UCF or Brigham Young or Cincinnati and Houston were doing. Made a lot of sense, but it's always nice when you have somebody on or you talk about those schools and knowing that one day soon they will be a part of the Big 12. Marc Daniels, 27 years broadcast voice of UCF, joins us. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports as the Knights had their spring game over the weekend. And Marc, thank you very much for your time. Is that reciprocal the way UCF fans and also just the school itself feel after all of what went down in the early fall last year?
Yeah, I think UCF certainly is excited about the opportunity that lies ahead. This football program's only been around since 1979 in Division I, since 1995, and from 1995 to operate as an independent to one time being a member of the MAC, the Conference USA and the American to get to the Big 12. It's a heck of a jump if you think about it in less than 30 years. But it's an exciting time. We know that it's a transition period to get there, and UCF certainly feel like it's building a foundation so that by the time it happens, whenever it does, that their goal is to step in and be competitive. What they know is going to be a challenging league.
Marc, there were kind of a team in transition early in the year last year because Mackenzie Milton transfers to Florida State, Dylan Gabriel gets hurt, but they kind of managed through it. Gus Malzahn has really stabilized things in a tumultuous time with coaches leaving, going all over the place. What's been his key to evening the water, so to speak?
Well, I think Gus did one of his best coaching jobs considering what UCF lost. Guys, we went to Louisville on a night that was just a weird night where things weren't going our way. And if you count Dylan Gabriel's injury in the final play of the game, UCF lost 7 starters in that game. And, Gus found a way to kind of rally the football team with a freshman quarterback in Mikey Keene. And literally, I thought week to week and at times series to series was figuring out how do we game plan to give ourselves an opportunity to be successful. And to win 9 games and to close out the season, beating Florida in a sold-out bowl game, I think kind of springboarded the team into what he felt was going to be a really big jump. It's his first full recruiting class that he and his staff got on to go out and recruit players. And most people agree the last 2 years, Gus has been as good as anybody in the transfer portal to get guys to come into the program. I think he feels like he's got a really solid team in 2022. He's got some young guys in a good recruiting class that he just brought in. He feels like the start to 23's recruiting class is beginning to show the impact of moving to a new league. He feels like a really good foundation is in place, a team that has a chance in 22 to be special, and then a team that he hopes continues to build in the years ahead.
So Mikey Keene is back after that freshman year where he saw a lot of action, but John Reese Plumlee as well, a little quarterback battle going on there. I saw a lot of touchdowns were thrown on Saturday, but you can only take so much away from spring games. So what did you take away from the spring in general in terms of the quarterback competition between those two?
Yeah, look, Mikey, I think did an amazing job. If you look at his numbers, I'm not comparing the finished product. He had better freshman numbers than Mackenzie Milton. Now, Mackenzie was kind of adapting to the college game and with an offensive system that was challenging to a lot of people. But Mikey, I think, won respect of his teammates. But I think Gus Malzahn felt, let's get some competition in here. And I credit Mikey. He's welcomed the competition. John Rice Plumlee came in, and a lot of people had a lot of hype saying, hey, former quarterback, Ole Miss. But now it's to kind of reacclimate himself to the quarterback position. I think it's been a really good battle. I think some people will try to take a lot of Saturday's spring game, which are designed really for offenses to showcase. Quarterbacks were not live to be hit, which to a degree impacted John Rice Plumlee because his speed is going to be a really big weapon for UCF. But I think the competition's been good. Each had their moments throughout the spring. I think, defense for John Rice, he's still learning this offense, getting back to playing the quarterback position, getting acclimated with his receivers and running backs. The good thing for UCF is they bring back a veteran offensive line, guys that played before, transfers that have come in, a 6'10" tackle, Ryan Swoboda from Virginia, who's going to really help that line. And they're loaded with running backs and wide receivers. So a quarterback needs to rely on those weapons to help them. Whoever wins the job certainly is going to have talent around them to be successful. And how it sorts out, that's for Gus to figure out. But I think it's been a good competition this spring.
How have you seen them capitalize on the flux that's going on with the big three in Florida, Miami, Florida, and Florida State in solidifying their talent base in Orlando?
Well, today UCF received their bowl rings that had number 1 in the state, so let them enjoy the moment of what was in 2022. It's interesting because this is a state that's been used to having programs be ranked near the top. But it certainly has been an adjustment at the three programs at Florida, Florida State, and Miami. I think Gus has had recruiting success in Florida when he was at Auburn. So it really helped him come into the state from a standpoint of high school coaches that had been good with him at Auburn. And I think he's taken advantage of that. UCF went back to some high school powers in the state that we weren't having a lot of success in, that Gus now has been able to tap back into, get some recruits in 22 and in 23 that's really helped. But there's no question that, he feels like the move to the Big 12, the success UCF has had in the past, should open the door. Guys, in the state of Texas, just like in Florida, there's a lot of guys that get 3 stars that would be 4 stars in other states, just because the talent level is so big. And I think Gus and his staff feel like, look, we got some 3, 4-star guys that don't need to be looking at other mid-level Power 5s when you can stay in Florida, be close to home, play in a Power 5 league. And I think they're beginning to see some of that wear off. And then, look, Gus likes shooting for the biggest names out there, and he doesn't mind bringing some 5-star guys in and developing relationships. As we all know, those relationships can come into play. So look at the portal where a guy maybe went someplace and felt it didn't work out. And I think Gus has seen that the last couple of years. So it's all part of roster management. But look, there's a lot of excitement in this state with those 3 programs, with new coaches and building things up. Mike Norvell in the 3rd year now, that they're going to be better. But look, UCF clearly is taking advantage of, hey, this is the conference we're playing in, and why not choose to play here?
Marc, I work with an award that tracks Texas college players, and so I've been, paying attention to UCF because they've had some guys, Ryan O'Keefe, but also Jalen Robinson, who I know didn't have the biggest year last year, but he was also dealing with, a knee injury and all of that. Looked like he had a pretty nice day on Saturday. What is kind of the buzz around Jalen Robinson and maybe a resurgence in 2022?
Well, Jalen came here and a couple of years ago, electrified people. He was the big play guy, and a lot of big catches and yards per catch, and a lot of expectations for him last year. He was projected to be a number 1 receiver. He's one of those guys that got hurt in the Louisville football game going up for a catch in the end zone and never got healthy the rest of the season. He came back late in the year, but just wasn't explosive, was frustrated by that. Ryan O'Keefe is the guy that kind of sat behind guys like Jalen Robinson and Gabe Davis now with the Bills and watched and learned and took advantage of the opportunity last year to become the number 1 receiver. And then Gus Malzahn used Ryan in a way that, hey, we may end around sweeps with you. Got to get creative as we work with the freshman quarterback. Ryan made the most of it by the end of the year. He truly was one of the better wide receivers in the conference, and I think really among the best in the country. Well, now Jalen Robinson's healthy. And Jalen this spring has that bounce in his step, and Jalen just kind of glides, and he made 70-yard touchdowns look easy on Saturday. Kobe Hudson was Auburn's top wide receiver. He's transferred to UCF. So now UCF's got Ryan O'Keefe off the year that he had, a healthy Jalen Robinson, Auburn's top receiver, took Florida's top pass-catching tight end last year, and have 2 other guys that are speedsters that are kind of waiting in the wings. So that's where you go back to quarterbacks, and now you've got this arsenal of wide receivers. Every single running back for UCF came back from last year, including Isaiah Bowser, the big bruising back that was so effective for UCF before he got hurt. And they added a talented freshman wide receiver, 4-star kid from Georgia. So that's going to help UCF as far as whoever's the quarterback and where they're going in the next couple of years, as they've got a great talent right there to work with offensively.
Marc, they have been doing some things to get themselves in position, one, to be more successful, whatever else. But how much does being a part of the Big 12 in the future boost the facilities, the upgrades? I see stories all the time where they're going to do this, they're going to do that. The bounce house has become a great place for them to be, but they're going to even help renovate that a little bit. How much has that helped?
Well, it's a lot. Obviously, where you're going allows you now to no longer tell people, we hope to do this, we hope to do that. Now you're saying, this is where we are going. This is who we are competing with. These are the facilities that they have to work with. If you want to be competitive, this is how we have to elevate our game. The good thing is that UCF's success over the years has seen the increase in budget, the increase in season tickets, the donors, but now you've got to raise it another notch. You're talking about a budget in the, $70+ million. Now you want to get towards $100 million. To be competitive in the Big 12. But winning football games and where you're going in future schedules is what excites fans to, be a part of it. And yeah, there are plans to upgrade facilities at UCF, and a lot of people have seen renderings of our, Recovery Cove, quote, Lazy River, adding more luxury seats to the stadium and things like that. That's all part of kind of growing the program. But there's a good level of excitement. But as you guys know, You got to win.
Yep.
I mean, when you win, people want to be a part of it. If you don't win, then it's kind of like, maybe to do this. And I don't use it as a comparison, yes, to a rival, but it's funny, where South Florida was years ago in the Big East and UCF was not, and how the tables to some degree have turned, where now South Florida is trying to do a lot of things that UCF's done the last 15 years. Build an on-campus stadium, generate a season ticket base, getting that stadium on your campus where UCF now controls every dollar, where for South Florida, they play at Raymond James where the Bucks play. So, is that the reason why UCF got the invite? The reason why UCF got the invite was 44 wins over 4 years. And South Florida didn't have those numbers. There's no question. If it was reversed, probably we're not having this conversation. So timing of success played a huge role of it, but now sustaining it, and that's the challenge to be able to do that. I think UCF AD Terry Mahajer, he's a rock star. He's got great passion. He generates excitement with UCF fans. And clearly Gus, has a vision. I think the best thing that happened to Gus, and he told this story, he wasn't sure he was going to coach, maybe take a year off. And he worked with Terry Mahajer a decade ago at Arkansas State. But I think Gus saw an opportunity to get back to coaching. Everybody knows what happened in Auburn and the politics and things like that. And what I've learned is players love Gus Malzahn. His players at Auburn loved him. The politics of things off the field, kind of took things in a different direction. But I think Gus is welcome getting back to coaching, being on the field again and focusing on that. Maybe not having 300 wannabe GMs that are telling you how to run your football program, because he's really embraced the opportunity at UCF and the vision of what he can build at UCF. Knows that others have kind of laid the foundation before, Josh Heupel and Scott Frost and George O'Leary. But I think he sees now an opportunity to take it to that next level.
Yeah.
The Auburn politics, that's never happened before, recently. Yeah.
Auburn coaches are kind of like Italian prime ministers. They kind of arise, and then everyone's like, hey, no, get out of here. Marc, what road trip are you looking forward to the most? Look, you're a play-by-play guy. You get in that business because you like to take road trips. Which one, after 27 years of being in UCF and kind of going to a lot of the same places, which one are you branching out and excited about the most?
I got to play the hits, isn't it? Waco, right? Right? Yeah.
We're going to have an NIL deal for you when you get here.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. I've been to Kansas State. We did football and basketball to Kansas State. So I've been there, but this is a place, conference with a bunch of schools that we've not been to. I've not been to Ames. I've not been to Lubbock. I've not been to Waco or Stillwater. So this is a new opportunity for us to go to a lot of places. I mean, in my 27 years, I broadcast from almost 300 different campuses, and I've not been to most of the campuses in this league. So we look forward to it. Just as I know people will look forward to coming to Orlando, I hope that we become one of those places that people want to go to. We've got a few things that are fun to do in this town. I hope a lot of people also get to experience the Bounce House. It's a unique stadium, and I think an atmosphere people will like. So, I know we're looking forward to that opportunity when it happens. I know UCF fans are excited about 2022, but certainly looking forward to new rivalries, new opportunities. It's a crazy time in college athletics, and yet I think, and I'm biased, I do think the four schools coming into the Big 12 all bring something unique in its market size. We're not maybe as old as some of the programs in the Big 12 that have some deeper history, but I think it's a good combination for what's been kind of a crazy time in college athletics. And I'm excited about what lies ahead. Whatever the configuration of the league is, I think it's going to be really exciting.
I was going to ask you about Provo but you've been there just a couple of years ago, right? In December, was that a bowl game? Was that at Brigham Young?
Well, we played Brigham Young on the road at Brigham Young. We played them in a bowl game down there. We played them out there, and actually we have them scheduled in what now will become a conference game. They're on the schedule again in the future, so that becomes a conference game. But we played out at BYU, which is one of the great destinations to ever get to as well.
Question.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no question about it at all. Well, we were there. Baylor played North Carolina in Orlando in a bowl game. Remember that, Paul, when we were there? Yeah. Craig, you were there, and we loved the facilities, the hospitality, everything there. We appreciate what we saw and what we did and look forward to it. We can't wait for that, Marc. Can't wait to see you. And also, of course, McLean Stadium's got a gorgeous view and a brand new stadium and the facilities, amenities. You're going to love it. Thanks for your time.
Well, we look forward to it, guys. Thanks for the invite anytime. Look forward to talking again.
Yep, that's Marc Daniels, voice of UCF. Now, their football schedule, I was going to ask this to Marc, but they opened up. They really have Louisville early on, who's coming off of 5-7 or whatever. Georgia Tech's coming off a tough year. SMU had the coaching change. East Carolina was like 7-5 or 7-6. They have Cincinnati in late October. No Houston on their schedule, which is one of the games or two you're going to avoid.
Cincy Memphis back-to-back games is a tough little turnaround.
Yep.
But
be fair to Louisville, they won 6 games, not 5 last year. 6 and 7 for the Cardinals.
So there's that. Thanks to Marc Daniels, voice of UCF for the last 7 years.
I mean, I know all the running backs are back, and John Rice Plumlee and Mikey Keene at quarterback will be a nice little battle, or has been one. But that receiving core really does have the potential to be pretty filthy. I mean, Kobe Hudson being added to Ryan O'Keefe. And Jalen Robinson, and I know they've got others as well, but O'Keefe and Robinson, both being Texas guys, I've been tracking them the last couple of years, and when they're on the top of O'Keefe really catapulted last year, but Jalen Robinson, like 2 years ago, was sensational, and glad he's healthy now, and they're gonna have a damn good wide receivers room, that's for sure.